my first question for all three of you, and maybe I'm a little bit anxious, but do you think Dungeons and Dragons can be a franchise in the future? We can see more films about it.
Well, it's not what we set out to do. As Jeremy likes to remind us, you have to focus on making one good movie. And if it works, maybe more follow. But we never really focused on creating a franchise.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest mistakes that movie studios make is that they put the cart before the horse. They think about the bigger, broader world that they want to create, and the franchise potential that it has. And I think that takes a focus off of making sure that the quality of that first film is there. And so for us, we just wanted to make a film that we were all proud of, and that's what we ended up doing.
Yeah, it's about establishing tone and world and just making something that people care enough that they want to spend time with. And if we could do that successfully, who knows where it goes. But the experience of going to the theater and the lights coming down and just being swept away by a great story is first and foremost.
Okay. And Jeremy, you have produced a lot of biggest movies, Marvel films and others. And why did you decide to tell Dungeons and Dragons story?
I think that as a culture, we always have to be doing new things, And I think if you look at a lot of the franchises that exist right now, there's a maturity to them, and it makes it hard to surprise because you've seen so many of the films over and over, and we need new things to be surprised by. So for me, you could take something that's as classic as Dungeons and Dragons, it's been around forever, and make a new version of it. You can actually surprise the audience again. And these guys have made something that's just very surprising, which is great.
Yeah. And Jonathan, John, yesterday you saw Brazilian fans a little bit crazy.
Yeah.
Have you ever saw something like that?
Never.
Not like that,
Never.
no.
I've been to concerts where people are cheering for other people like that, but I've never been cheered for myself.
Did you feel like a rock star?
I felt a little bit like a rock star.
Sure.
I don't know if we would have gotten the same reaction if we didn't have a bunch of movie stars next to us, but
I like to think we would have.
Chris Pine and Hugh Grant helped you.
yeah.
And reggae, they seem to like reggae. No, the enthusiasm of those fans was just amazing. I mean, I can only compare it to San Diego, which was great, and a bigger crowd, but the energy here felt even larger.
Yeah, and they were just hanging off of our every word too. They were so engaged. It was really nice to see.
I know we are crazy.
I was there.
The best kind of crazy.
The best people.
You were there.
It's amazing.
But there's another side of this. Nerds really loves these stories and are super protective.
Sure.
Are you afraid of the reaction?
Yeah, at first we were, before we put out the trailer, we had no idea what they would think. Obviously, it was very important to us to kind of uphold the things that they wanted it to be when we were making the film, but we also wanted to make it for people who weren't familiar at all with the franchise. So for us, it was really gratifying to see that they have fully, seemingly embraced what we put out
And
there.
we're players and fans too, so it's not like we come from the outside and try to reinterpret Dungeons and Dragons. We're bringing our own affection for it to the screen.
Okay. And for you three, how was work with these huge stars like Chris Pine, Hugh Grant, and the others of the cast?
Oh man, they're just the best cast we could have possibly asked for. I mean, every day we were talking to ourselves about how lucky we were to have these guys, because this could not have been pulled off with a lesser cast, and they really just brought their A game in every way, and each of them were so special and different.
Okay, our last question. What the fans can expect for this film?
They can expect to be surprised, I think, because this movie has heart, it has humor, laugh out loud comedy, it has great characters that people are going to get excited about, and it also has the scope and grandeur of any great fantasy film. All those things packed into 2 hours.
And we really wanted to create some inventive action sequences as well. I think there's a bit of a fatigue from audiences over the more generic action sequences that they see in these big franchise movies, and we wanted to give them something different, something that made them think a little bit while they were watching this big spectacle. So that was our goal.